Alrighty, so you have chosen and decided to go with a Bukkit server. Excellent choice. Now, first off, we're going to go to bukkit.org, and you're going to want to go to Get craftbukkit. Of course, this is just the setup way, but I'd rather show you through video. And we're going to click over here for the recommended build, but we're going to change that to beta builds because we want to use the beta. Beta builds usually tend to be a little bit more stable than the development build, but not quite as stable as a recommended build. And so we're going to download the newest build number 2488. Keep. Okay, so while that's downloading, we are going to scrap that one. That was a failed attempt at it earlier. And let's go ahead and create a new folder, shall we? We're going to make this one Bukkit. And actually, while we're waiting, let's go ahead and open up our Notepad. And we need to copy and paste this into the file. Of course, you'll need to change craftbukkit.jar a little bit in just a minute. Wait till the file actually downloads, then we'll go through with that. Okay. So it should be craftbukkit dash 1.4.5. And this will all be included in the description. Not 0.3, 0.2. Okay, so now that we have our entire thing, we're going to save as, and we're going to put this in our Bukkit folder. Now this is the key part, because we're going to name this run.bat and make sure that it says all files. We need this in a .bat file, so that way it'll actually make this into an executable script. Now we're going to move our craftbukkit jar into this, and you're going to hit the run. Okay, and I see where our problem was. When you write this script, one thing you're going to notice right off the bat is it's going to say, now hold on here. Okay, let me open back up Notepad. One thing you notice is it said it couldn't execute because there was not enough RAM. And partially because I'm running this on a virtual machine, so that's probably going to be a reason why. But go to all files and hit open the run file. So let's go ahead, we're going to reduce the RAM down to 256K. Because right now it's saying running off of 1 gig. Or not 256K, I'm sorry, 256M. 256K would be like an old computer back from the 80s. So we want to run this off 256 megabytes. The XMS means what the minimum you want it to have, and XMX means the maximum. And usually you can leave them about the same. You don't really want them to fluctuate too bad. You kind of want to keep the RAM usage at a set limit. Okay, so now let's try it again. Okay, and as you can see, now this is our console here for this. Now the reason why you're seeing it has to create 3 different, or actually you'll see in just a second the third. There you go. It has to create 3 different spawn areas because it's kind of weird. It's kind of like the layered system where it'll keep them all separate. And as you can see in the folder in the background here, we have world_nether, and world_the_end. Those, as you can tell, I'm sure, are your files. And then, of course, this should look just like the vanilla server if you watch those videos. You have your default server properties, your server file, and the server properties I wouldn't really tinker with too much from here. You can just configure the nether, configure the world name. If you change the world name, it's going to make it regenerate a whole new world. Enable query, I'd leave that on. Allow flight, I would set that to true. Same with enable query, I'm sorry. Server port 25565 is the default. You can change if that port's in use at your house for some other purpose, you can change the port there. Level type default, I would just leave that. Level seed, you use that only if you change the world, because when it regenerates the world, it'll use that seed. Build height 256 is the maximum you want usually, unless you want to go higher. You definitely want villagers, obviously. If you want a whitelist, set that to true. Otherwise, leave it at false. Disable in difficulty, game mode, max players. MOTD you can configure just so it shows when people view your server in the server list. And also, at any time, if this process gets a little overwhelming, check out my server. It's mc.austinapps.org. It'll be in the description. But we're not going to tinker with this for right now. So let's go ahead and do. Now this is currently your console. Stop. And like I said, it's just like your console, and it's going to say stop in the server. When you run stuff in the console, you do not have to type the / key. You just run the command. Okay? So now that's the essentials of setting one up. We got all the files right. Now check out my next video where we go over plugins.